One of the easiest words we throw around is evil. We call people evil, we call actions evil, we call systems evil. But the moment a God enters the conversation, people suddenly change the rules. So today, let's slow it down. What actually makes something evil? Is it intent, the outcome, the amount of suffering it causes? Is evil something that's wrong no matter who does it? Or does a God get a completely different set of standards than everybody else? And if your answer is that a loving God can't do evil by definition, then I want to know how you reach that conclusion. Is it because of the actions themselves, or because you've already decided that anything a God does has to be good? Today is about examining the standard that you're using and whether we're being consistent with it. So wherever you land, whether you're a believer, whether you're questioning your faith, or an atheist, we want to hear from you. If you think an evil God doesn't apply, give us a call at 512-991-9242 or request up via TikTok and tell us why. I'm your host, Thinker. This is the Atheist Experience, and the show's starting right now. Hey, Godless Engineer, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. I was on Talk Heathen earlier, and so now I'm on here, and it's just been it's been a very, call-in show kind of day for me. It's been awesome.
Well, I'm glad to have you here with me. We work hard in the atheist community, I would say. Well, welcome everybody. Today is July 19th, 2026. And I want to welcome all of you to the Atheist Experience. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Thinker, and joining me today, as I stated, is Godless Engineer. The Atheist Experience is a product of the atheist community of Austin, a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to the promotion of atheism, critical thinking, secular humanism, and the separation of religion and government. This means that you can give us a tax-free donation, as many as you want, in fact, and know not only that it's going to a good cause, but also that it helps you too. We are streaming tonight, so a big shout out to our viewers on TikTok and YouTube Mobile. If you're watching us on TikTok tonight and you like to talk to us, just request up and join, and we'll bring you up on stage. Please make sure that you are over 18 years of age before doing so. And Godless Engineer, are you ready to take some calls?
Oh, I definitely am. I'm ready to get into it.
All right, let's go ahead on and get started. I think I'm going to start with Andrew. See what Andrew has today. Andrew, are you there? You're on the line with Thinker and Godless Engineer.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Godless.
I'm going to ask someone from the team if you could let my TikTok account up on stage for me, please. What are your thoughts on your God being evil and you knowing it?
Well, I want to know what you mean by evil. Like, are you talking about like it's for evil from the standard of harm, or what do you mean by like God being evil?
Yeah, well, the definition of evil is wicked, immoral, infliction of intentional harm, injustices, or injustice. So, yeah. Like, do you have a different definition of evil?
Well, being that since I'm a Christian, I would believe that anything that goes outside of God's preferences would be evil.
Anything that goes outside of his purpose is evil?
His preferences.
I mean, it's not evil? So if it's his
anything
purpose...
that goes against his preference. Okay. Like if anything goes against his preference, it would be evil.
So an atheist, right, someone not obeying him would be evil?
Yeah, that would be evil according to Christians. Just like secularists would say that Christians would be evil if they follow the Old Testament God.
Mm-hmm. So when your God's Holy Spirit commands you to go and kill 30 random people, that's not evil, that's good?
You talk about the Amalekites? Are you talking about?
No, I haven't. If your God's Spirit commanded you, right, to go and kill 30 random people, would that be good?
Oh, if he asked me to do that today?
Yes.
Oh no, then I wouldn't do it because we would.
I'm not asking if you would do it. I'm not asking would you do it. I'm asking would that be good? You said anything that goes against his purpose is evil. Your God's purpose is obedience, is to obey his will. So if his will is for you to kill 30 random people, then that would be then good?
Yeah, that would be good. What's the counter argument to it? Would that not be good?
To kill 30 random people. So anybody could say that the Holy Spirit led them to kill 30 people because it was God's will?
Yeah, what's the argument against that?
That killing people is harmful. That's intentional harm.
Why is that bad?
Why is intentional harm bad?
Yeah, if God told them to do it, they're obeying their God. Why would that be bad?
Well, one, because it's causing intentional harm, and then it would create chaos because all of you are talking to your God in your head and no one can verify whether a God told you anything. You all are bickering with each other. Hold on, you all are bickering with each other whether y'all are true Christians or not. Like y'all don't even agree with each other when y'all say God said. Like I think you're being obtuse right now when you're asking why would that be bad?
No.
The world would be in chaos. The world would be in chaos if all of you were actually listening to a God and obeying it.
Yeah, but you can't demonstrate that the world would be in chaos. You can't demonstrate that.
I can't. Are you serious right now? Like, you can't be serious.
Yeah, you can't demonstrate that.
I can't demonstrate that if everybody thought that a God was talking to them in their head and every time they wanted to kill somebody, that they could just go kill and say, God told me to. I cannot demonstrate that that would be chaos. Like, what do you think we have laws for? What do you think we have laws for?
Hold on, you made a claim. You said the world would be in chaos.
I am proving that claim right now. But I think you're trying to do some philosophical syllogism that you are not equipped to do. Why do we have laws?
There is no syllogism.
Why do we have laws?
What?
Why do we have laws?
I don't know why. I don't know why we have laws.
You literally said that I cannot prove that the world would be in chaos if everybody just killed whenever they wanted to and said God told them to.
Yeah. So you need to demonstrate or.
Why do we have laws against murder?
Because people don't want to be murdered. That's why.
Because people don't want to be murdered? Or because it would be chaos. People would just be killing whenever they wanted to. We have laws against murder to detour people from murdering so that it would not be chaos, so that people wouldn't just be taking lives whenever they felt like it and then saying, God told me to.
So you're against any kind of military action then?
Is military action murder?
Yeah.
Military action is murder. So then when your God sends the Israelite army to fight against cities far away from them, he was murdering people. He was instructing the Israelites to murder.
Yeah, so why was he doing that? He was instructing them to kill people who went against the Israelites.
He was instructing them to murder. Although he gave a law that says do not murder. So your God is a hypocrite.
Well, I think
your God is not only evil, he's also a hypocrite.
Well, so are secularists. They're also hypocrites. None of them are vegan.
Well, we're not talking about secularists. We're talking about your God. Like, are you agreeing with me that your God is evil and a hypocrite?
No, you.
This is kind of easy.
Because you're the same way.
I mean, this is kind of easy. The topic isn't me, though. The topic is your God. Your God is evil, and you know it. And so instead of you calling in trying to say that he isn't evil, you should have just said, yep, I know my God is evil and he's a hypocrite and he commands people to murder and he gave me permission to murder whenever I feel like it.
Well, I answered directly. No, he wouldn't be a hypocrite because God gives the rules. If he tells people you shall not murder, and he says you're on a mission to murder, he obviously when he's talking about you shall not murder, he's talking about like other Israelites.
So he still said, don't murder. He literally says in Leviticus 19, 33 through 34, to treat a foreigner the same way that you would treat an Israelite when they live in the land. So murdering a foreigner when they live in the land of Israel is against your God's law. And in fact, I know a king I know a king whose name is David who went against that law and murdered a Hittite while that Hittite was away fighting in the Israelite army for that Israelite king. And that king wanted that Hittite's wife. So he went and slept with his wife, got her pregnant, and then killed that Hittite because he wouldn't sleep with his wife and take credit for his baby. And your God did not make David die according to his law. A murderer was supposed to be executed when you go against the law, and your God didn't require that, so he is a hypocrite. He is evil and a hypocrite. He killed an innocent baby because David wanted some ilnana.
Okay, so if God is evil and a hypocrite, I mean, that would make you the same way.
Why? Please explain that to me. Why would that make me the same way?
Are you a vegan? Are you?
Huh? I do not eat meat. I do not eat beef or pork. I haven't in 7 years.
Eggs?
I do eat eggs every now and then. I eat brown eggs.
So, so you justify the killing and animals?
No, the eggs are not born yet. Go ahead, Godless.
Well, I was just going to say, for one thing, Andrew, you've totally divorced your idea of morality from any real sense of morality. As soon as you say that what is evil or what is bad is anything that deviates from God's purpose, you no longer are concerned with the morality that affects people. You care about pleasing your sky daddy, essentially. So like, I get that you're trying to do some kind of purity test with Thinker here as far as like eating meat or anything like that. But the fact of the matter is that you have no sense of morality. You don't care about being a good and moral person in a society, because we're sitting here trying to explain to you why in a society, in a successful society, why it's bad to kill another person. And I feel like that is just indicative of the fact that you've completely divorced yourself from any real sense of morality, and you are now in a headspace where you're just trying to please an all-powerful God so that he won't burn you in hell forever. So I don't want to hear any kind of like moral grandstanding from you about whether or not somebody's vegan or if they eat meat or anything like that, because you don't really care about that. If you cared about that, you wouldn't follow a God that hamstrung horses in Joshua. You wouldn't, I mean, you can't tell me that God cares about the lives of animals or anything like that when he commands his people to utterly destroy those animals. So don't grandstand with us here, okay? Because you don't give a shit about animals, and your God doesn't give a shit about animals.
No, I don't care about animals. I'm trying to point out the hypocrisy of secularists, because they say that their morality is superior to religious people. And so when religious people point out that, hey, most of you guys aren't vegans, and you're saying that the God of the Old Testament is evil because he does all this death and destruction, but most atheists support death and destruction of animals because none of them will not be.
No. Andrew, quit fucking grandstanding about animals right now.
I'm not more.
Quit fucking grandstanding about animals. Because you've already said that you don't give a shit about animals. And also us caring about the lives of human beings as well as other animals, it means that we actually do care about that. And just because somebody is more omnivorous than maybe you are, doesn't mean that they somehow love to torture animals, like hamstringing horses or utterly destroying animals in a field of battle just because you're up against another force. Okay, your God specifically commanded the Israelites to disembowel animals and burn their entrails on an altar so that he could just smell the sweet savor of the barbecue at the time. So don't grandstand about this kind of shit. We can care about animals and be omnivorous at the exact same time. Whereas your God, not giving a shit about animals, demanded that they be disemboweled and then have their entrails burnt, as well as hamstringing animals so that they suffer and die. That means that he doesn't give a shit about animals, and he wants the animals to suffer in the most cruelest of ways. We don't want that. Like, even if both of us were more omnivorous, It doesn't matter because your God just doesn't give a shit about suffering. He only cares about appeasing his own personal whims, and that's how it's completely divorced from any kind of sense of morality. Whether you want to extend that morality to more of the animal kingdom than just humans. So yeah, your God doesn't give a shit about that. Don't try to morally grandstand anybody here.
I'm not morally grandstanding. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy. That's all I was doing.
No, we're not pointing out. We're not.
hypocrisy?
Yeah, we're not being hypocrites. There,
The
Andrew.
thing is,
Yeah, that's hypocritical.
the thing is that you want to turn the conversation to humans when we're talking about your God. Like, it's like that you have become your God's scapegoat or your God's sacrifice. Like, you need to stand in front of him to protect him. Your God made decisions. Like, let's talk about the decisions that he made.
Yeah, but if God created the entire universe, he can do with whatever he can do with his creation, whatever he wants, right?
I mean, it's cool that you think that, but what we're talking about is whether he is evil and a hypocrite, and whether you are changing the definition of what evil is because it is your God and you feel like he can do whatever he wants. That still doesn't mean that it's not evil. Your God literally gave his enemy permission to fuck with y'all. Like, and you call that love. Like, in the story, your God could not be his enemy. Your God, let me finish speaking, please. Let me finish speaking, please. In your God's story, he could not beat his enemy. He kicked his enemy down to earth where his loving human beings are, who are weaker than him, for y'all to fight his enemy. And you call that love. Would you do that to your children?
You said a lot. No, I wouldn't. Would I do what to my children?
Would you lock your children in a room with your enemy?
No, I wouldn't lock my children in a room with my enemy. No.
Why not?
It's just my preference. I don't know why I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it.
You don't know why? You don't know why you wouldn't lock your children in a room with your mortal enemy?
No, I wouldn't do it because I was told that it was wrong to do that.
Who told you it was wrong?
Like, any harm that come to kids would be wrong.
Who told you that?
My parents, people around me.
So your parents told you that it was wrong to do harm to kids? Any harm?
Yeah.
And that's the reason, I just want to make sure, the reason you would not lock your child in a room with your mortal enemy is because your parents told you it would be wrong to harm kids, not because you love your children, but because your mommy and daddy would get you?
No, they just told me that it was wrong to do stuff like that. To any kind of harm that would come to kids, it's wrong. So,
like, do you have children?
I don't.
That's why your answer is the way it is, because you don't understand what it means to love a child. Now, if your mommy and daddy locked you in a room with their mortal enemy, would you feel like your mother and father loved you?
Probably not. No. If they locking me in a room with their mortal enemy,
mm-hmm.
It depends on the.
And gave that mortal enemy free range to do whatever to you.
No.
That's not love. Would you think it was evil?
I would think it was evil, yeah.
But when your God does it, it's not evil. It's love.
God locked somebody in a... You said, wait, God locked somebody in a room?
No, we're talking about hell, Andrew. Keep up.
No, I'm talking about earth. You are on earth right, with your God's mortal enemy running free to fuck with you anytime he wants. He kicked his mortal enemy out of heaven down to earth where his precious humans are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's your job to fight his enemy. And when he could have if he's all powerful, he could have just destroyed his enemy in heaven, right? When Satan was up there causing trouble. Instead, he kicked him down here to earth so he could mess with the weaker humans and gave him free range and an army to do it, an army of demons to help him.
Well, you said something before. You said that God you said that God sent somebody to sleep with a child. Did you say?
I did not say that. Oh, poor. I did not say that. No, listen. The earth is analogous to the room that your parents locked you in. Okay? God is analogous to your parents. The devil is analogous to your parents' enemy. Get it?
Yeah.
Okay. So your God kicked his enemy out of his house down to yours, where you are, his humans, and gave his enemy free range to do whatever he wanted to his precious humans. Does that make sense?
Okay. Well, no. I mean, you said God. You're talking about Lucifer in the Bible, because Satan is just anybody who goes against God. But are you talking?
Is there a devil?
Yeah, they call him Satan or something like that.
So you know who I'm talking about.
Anybody. Yeah, anybody can be a devil. Like.
But is there a devil? Did your God kick an angel out of heaven? That is the devil, the dragon that deceived the whole world, that was a liar from the beginning, or no?
I don't remember the context, but I'll take your word for it. Yeah.
Either you have a devil or not.
Yeah.
No, what do you mean? It's like, you know, y'all God ain't real. Like, what?
Andrew, are you a Christian? Andrew, are you a Christian? Are you sure? Because it feels like you're bullshitting us right now.
Why would I not be a Christian?
Well, because you're acting confused about whether or not Satan exists in your theology.
Well, when people think of Satan, they thinking about the devil horns and a pitchfork or something like that. That's not how I describe Satan.
We're not. When have we described Satan that way?
That's how most people describe him.
Okay, well, all we've mentioned is the theological figure of Satan and what the theology claims about Satan, meaning that Satan is the ruler of this world. That's what the theology says. So how about get whatever you've got in mind as far as what we could or could not mean. We're just talking about fucking Satan. Okay, Andrew? That's what we're talking about. You're being obtuse right now. You're being purposefully obtuse.
I've never heard of that word. Okay.
You've never heard of obtuse?
No, I never heard of that word.
Meaning like you're being purposefully ignorant. You're playing dumb is essentially what you're doing.
I'm sorry?
You're playing dumb. There's no way you in New Jersey don't have some kind of like theological concept of Satan and what that means, whether it's a redheaded figure with horns and a pitchfork or just the actual theological like figure that is in apologetics. Like you have a concept of it. You know what Thinker's talking about. You're being obtuse.
No, I was just making sure we was talking about the same thing because I didn't want to. I was just clarifying. That's it. I wasn't being obtuse or whatever the word you said.
You literally said a Satan is just anybody who goes against God. You tried to play like you didn't know who I was talking about when you said, are you talking about Lucifer? Is his name Lucifer? You were being obtuse.
No, because people call Lucifer Satan, right?
Those are similar. Yes, those are the same figure. Lucifer, Satan, like however you want to mention him, that's who Thinker was talking about. You knew that's who Thinker was talking about. You know the theology that we're talking about right now. So you're being really, you're pissing me off. Listen, Andrew, what God is evil just by the claimed actions in his holy book. How do you feel about the Bible? Do you think the Bible is representative of God?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Point to me in the Bible where Satan does anything that's out of the realm of God's like commands, that is something that's against what God has asked him to do.
That's something that Satan does on his own without God telling him to do something?
But first, I think we need to find out if he thinks Satan is evil, because that's
Good
his
point.
definition, right, of what evil is. So, do you think Satan is evil?
Well, I've been trying to look into Gnosticism. Gnosticism states that Satan was probably most likely the good guy. So I've been trying to look into that for a while, and Gnosticism kind of makes sense a little bit, but as I stand now, yeah, I would say Satan is evil.
Okay. Now, can you answer Godless' question?
Can you repeat his question again?
Yeah. When point book, chapter, verse of the Bible where Satan does something that is not either at God's command or due to due to God in general. Can you point to a book, chapter, verse where he does something that's outside of God's?
Yeah, when he tried to tempt Jesus in the wilderness. And
okay, so the best you've got is Satan twerked for Jesus and tempted him in the desert.
But wasn't that part of the plan?
Wait. It says twerking in the Bible?
It doesn't say twerking. I was being hyperbolic.
Oh. No, but yeah, that's you said give you something, so that's what it is. He tried to tempt Jesus, and Jesus says, "Get behind me," and that was that.
So Satan did something that God didn't want him to do, and God didn't stop him from doing it. And did God know that Satan was going to tempt Jesus?
I don't know. It doesn't say that in the scripture. I mean, I have no idea if you know.
Is God omniscient?
The scriptures.
Does God know everything?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think so.
Okay. It's really hard to discuss Christian theology with you, Andrew, when you're all over the place about Christian theology. It kind of seems like you're in the process of making up your own theology to fit in whatever narrative works in your head. That's what it seems like to me. I don't know. What do you think, Thinker?
I didn't change the topic. You did.
I didn't claim that you changed the topic.
I mean, I didn't. You said I'm all over the place. I was just answering your questions. I didn't take us all over the place.
No. I'm saying that your theology is all over the place. Like you're not sticking to like a Christian theology. You're just, whenever we ask you about something concerned with the topic, you just throw in some random bullshit that is a little difficult for us to interact with, because it's a lot like going to a buffet and you're mixing like the fucking lettuce with goddamn ribs. And it's really fucking weird for you to come in here, throw out Gnosticism, and I don't know who Satan is, which is bullshit. It's like, I don't know who Satan is. Oh, is Lucifer and Satan the same character? It's just, I don't know. It's just a little difficult to interact with somebody who's actively doing buffet Christianity in the weirdest possible way.
But Thinker said that everybody got their own version of Christianity.
Well, I mean, eventually people just pick out the parts that they like.
Wait, when did you hear me say that?
You said in the
I don't know, honestly.
There are multiple different. Yeah, she said there are multiple different things of Christianity. There's different interpretations and different religions of sects of Christianity. Ain't that what you said, Thinker?
Did I say that today in this conversation with you?
Yeah. Yeah, you said there are different sects of Christianity. There are different. It came from the topic of would I kill 30 people or something like that. You said everybody.
We were talking about interpretations. I said each Christian has their own interpretation because you're all hearing from a God. I didn't say anything about, I didn't talk to you about different sects of Christianity.
No, but Godless Engineer said that I'm all over the place. I have my own thing, and every Christian you talk to is going to say something different. Like, we're not all going to say
right. But do you see how we can't even have a conversation with you about one topic because you have about 5 different Jesuses in your head? Do you see the chaos that it is created? In just this conversation, imagine if everybody thought like you and their gods was telling them to murder, to rape kids, to traffic, to enslave, to steal. Imagine the chaos that would cause. Like right now, this conversation is chaotic. Like we cannot get a line of questioning down. We can't get an understanding because you keep jumping from idea to idea.
No, well, look how Christians live their lives. Are they listening? Are they going around killing people because God told them to?
Yeah.
I
Sometimes.
know one religion who's doing that, and that's Islam. They're the ones.
Oh, don't go into the Islam thing. We're focusing on Christianity. They're both Abrahamic religions. Both of them have a horrible fundamentalist sects that are associated with the core theology of Abrahamic faiths in general. So don't try to pivot to Islam as if Islam is worse. Islam is just at a different point in its life cycle than Christianity. That's all that is.
Yeah, but look at Christianity. Christians, right. Even if you look at data, they have some of the best metrics when it comes to outcomes. They're not going around murdering and killing people in mass like that. And every Christian has its own different interpretation of what they think Christianity is.
Hey, Andrew. What religion was Timothy McVeigh?
I have no idea.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I forgot you're obtuse.
No, he didn't. He didn't bomb because he was a Christian.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't. He bombed because he thought the government was screwing him over.
No. He did his bombing because of the Waco incident, and he was retaliating against the government because of he perceived the government to be directly responsible for attacking a Christian sect that while he may not have been part of, he felt companionship with that sect because they were both Christian, and so he attacked the U.S. government building for that particular reason. He was very Christian, and there's not only him, but there are plenty of other people in the history of this nation that have been Christian and have been on violent rampages, right? Dylan Roof over there in South Carolina. Do you want me to pull up a list of Christian domestic terrorists in America? Don't act like Christians aren't violent. They are violent.
No, I'm not.
Independent fundamentalist Baptists are violent in general.
I mean, Dylan Roof. Dylan, is that the same guy that shot up a church?
Yes, he shot up a black church because he's a racist piece of shit.
Yeah, it seemed like he did it because he was racist, not because he was did it because of Christianity.
He was a Christian.
Yeah, but I'm saying he didn't do it because he was in the name of Christianity. He did it because he was He was racist. Because he went and shot up a white church.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Somebody.
Are you there?
Godless left.
Yeah, I think Godless lost connection. But your question was, are Christians going around killing people? And the answer is yes. And that's what he did. He was a Christian. You adding that he was a racist doesn't change the fact that he was a Christian. And if your God's spirit is on him and your God's spirit is giving him strength and moving him to do that, that's something that your God gave him strength and moved him to do. And you said that if your God tell you to do that, that is good. That is not evil.
Yeah, but I don't know if God's spirit moved him to go shoot up a black church. I think the only thing that moved him to go shoot up a black church was his hatred for black people. Like, I don't think God.
Again, that was my point in the beginning. That just what you just said. I don't know if God's spirit told him to do that. Nobody has access to your mind when you all say God said. So if you believe that your God spirit is speaking to you and moving you to do something, and you say, well, evil is not obeying God or doing something against the purpose of God, then anything a person says a God told them to do is not evil. It's always good.
So anybody that worships the Old Testament, that worships God in the Bible would be evil by your standard, right?
No, not necessarily, but it does.
We
like
can't hear
the
you,
belief.
Godless.
I can hear her.
I can't hear him.
Oh, I think it's coming in on my
You
side.
can hear me, Godless?
Well, I can hear you, Andrew. Thinker can't hear me.
Hear him.
I can hear you. I can hear.
Yeah, he can. Andrew can hear both of us, but Thinker can't hear me. I'm showing levels coming in on my end. Okay, I guess I'm going to drop real quick, and I'm going to rejoin.
Thinker.
Yes, I think they're having to fix Godless mic. Does that make sense? Yes, anyone who would worship that God and say that the things that God commands are evil. Like what? Let me ask you a question, Andrew. What reason?
Christians are evil.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Andrew, what reason would an all-powerful God, who you believe has the power to wake people up in the morning, correct? Your God wakes people up, huh?
Yeah, I agree.
What reason would that God need to employ human beings to kill the people that he wakes up every morning? Like, they don't wake up unless your God wakes them up. What reason would he need to then employ human beings to go and murder humans whom your God woke up that morning?
For whatever reason, like I guess people who war against himself, who turn against him, or who war against his people, like. But
hold on. But if he wakes them up, right? They don't wake up unless he wakes them up, right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
So if he does not want people on the earth, he doesn't want them living because they don't worship him, why wake them up just so that he can command humans to murder them? Why not just not wake them up?
I mean, that's a good point.
Yeah, because your God wants humans to do evil shit.
Yeah, so then I mean, if God wants Christians to do evil things, then you believe that, because when I talk to secularists, they say, oh, we don't believe Christians are evil, but they do believe Christians are evil.
The Christians that do evil shit.
That don't do evil stuff.
Huh?
Because the ones that don't do the stuff, they also follow the same God. So you would believe that.
But you're here justifying it, so that would make you evil, Andrew. You're here saying that you literally asked me what would be wrong with just killing random people.
Yeah.
Like, that makes you evil. You know, there's a scripture, and Andrew, there's a scripture in the Bible that says God chooses the foolish things to confound the wise, to confuse the wise. Are you familiar with that scripture, Andrew?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And in Zechariah, it talks about a foolish shepherd in Zechariah 11. And in Hebrew, that word is iveli, right? And the transliteration of that is spelled like evil. And I was reading that and I was like, God chooses the evil things to confound, to confuse the wise. Your God does evil shit. What your God considers foolish, what your God considers foolish is what we would call evil. So your God wants humans to do evil shit to confuse people. And so that you can call it good because you're beholden to this God. You're afraid of this God. And so you justify evil shit.
If this God was real, you wouldn't be afraid of it?
No. If the God is real, it's real in your minds. Human beings do fuck shit because of disbelief.
Yeah, of course.
The God is real. That's why I don't like having conversations with people about proof God exists. Y'all are the gods. Like, y'all carry the God around with you in your hearts and in your minds. And you are the God's arms, legs, feet, mouth.
So then why do secularists who don't believe in God, and why do they still do evil stuff?
Because like humans do evil shit, but you are doing evil shit because a God told you to. And then you try to convince other people that they need to do evil shit for God.
So you're saying that they shouldn't do it in the name of God, right?
They shouldn't do evil shit, period. It's harder to get a human being not to do evil shit when you have a fear of a God. A secularist, right, that does something bad does the bad because they wanted to do the bad and they hold themselves accountable. So it's easier to get a secularist to change their behavior and to take accountability than it is for someone who subscribes to a God or a devil or demons, because you are not used to taking accountability. And you are afraid of a God. You are afraid of a God might get you if you don't obey. You don't know what's real. You're afraid of losing community. Human beings, just because someone is secularist doesn't mean they can't do any bad or do any wrong. But I think it is more likely that a person that believes that they are being guided by a God will do evil if they believe that God is telling them to, especially this one.
Yeah, but you believe that do you believe that the world would be a better place if everybody was atheist? There were no religious people on earth, and everybody, you believe if we get rid of religion, the world will be a better place, right?
I do. If we had more critical thinkers, yes. If we had more critical thinkers, yes, I do.
Okay, North Korea, is that a better place?
I ain't never been to North Korea, have you?
No.
So why are you asking me about North Korea? You want me to lie to you? I've not been to North Korea. I don't know.
I can name you several secular countries that are not the best.
How do you know?
Because the countries self-ID as secular.
How do you know what the quality of life is there?
Okay, let's say China, mostly secular.
Have you been to China?
No.
So how do you know what the quality of life is there?
You can look up the lives of people. You can look up the happiness index of those people. Why do Christians report
Have you looked up the happiness index?
Of happiness. Yeah.
What is it?
I have to go back and look it up.
You know, I halfway expected him to just throw out a random number.
I did too.
Happiness over there is 12. It's like,
but do you see how your love of your God moves you to just say random shit? Like, your love of your God moves you to even lie.
Then how come Christians aren't mass murdering people in large numbers today?
Do you know that the majority of people in jail are believers of a God? A high number of them in the U.S. are Christians.
Yeah, but
less than 1% of people in jail are atheists.
Well, how many of those people in jail convert to Christianity or to Islam or whatever? Because a lot of people that go to jail, they convert.
Less than 1% are atheists. Even if the small number converted while they were in jail, it's not big enough, right? To discount the fact that the majority of people in jail believe in a God, overwhelmingly believe in the Abrahamic God.
First of all, most of the country isn't atheist. Most of the country is religious. Most of the world is religious.
Stop for a second.
want to see more.
Stop for a second. Think about it. Do you think the world is a peaceful place, or do you think the world is filled with evil and wickedness?
I think it's both. It's a mix of both.
It can't be. It can't be both. Is it peaceful? Is the world peaceful, or is it filled with war, famine, genocide, trafficking? I already said famine. Like, is the world filled with wickedness, or is this a utopia?
The world is filled with wickedness. That's true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you just said that the majority of the world believes in the Abrahamic God.
No, I'm saying they're not the Abrahamic God specifically, but the majority of the world is religious. They have like gods. They worship a God. Right? It don't even necessarily have to be an Abrahamic God, but Hindu, witches or whatever. They worship entities. Nordics. They worship the Nordic gods. So it's just gods in general.
Overwhelmingly, the majority of the world believes in the Abrahamic God. That's about 1 billion Persians that believe in Zoroastrianism, about 1 billion Hindus. There's 1.8 billion Catholics, 2.4 billion Christians, and about, I don't know, hundreds of millions of Muslims. I don't think there's billions. I don't think Muslims have hit billions yet, have they?
I don't think so. They're
Yeah.
closing in fast.
They're closing in. But the majority believe in the Abrahamic God. Overwhelmingly believe in Jesus. And the world is an evil place. And so if the influence of Jesus is a indication of what your heaven's going to be like, we would have to turn and look at the Christians. Half of y'all, most of y'all are in jail. The jail is filled with Christians. The jail is filled with Christians. The world is filled with war, famine, slavery, genocide, poverty, and it's overwhelmingly the Abrahamic God. The human beings are overwhelmingly carrying the Abrahamic God.
Yeah, that's true, but that's because the reason why most people aren't secularists is because secularists don't appeal to nobody. Like secularists really, once you die, you just go in the dirt. You everything goes dark. That's it. You cease to exist. People don't like that. That's why most of the world ain't secularists.
Right. Most of you are willing to sacrifice the well-being of other humans for yourself. It's a selfish religion. You are willing to look the other way. You are willing to exchange the famine, the war, the poverty, so that you could go to heaven. You're basically practicing human sacrifice every day. You accepted a human sacrifice. Hold on, look, you accept human sacrifice so that you don't have to pay for your wrongdoings. And then you continue to allow suffering or, justify suffering in the name of your God so that you could go to heaven. So you continue to sacrifice the well-being of other humans. It's just a circle of human sacrifice over and over and over again. That's evil.
That's not true because most of the people who do the most charities, who do the most giving, who do the most donations are overwhelmingly Christians. I've never seen secularists line up tables with the home. I haven't seen it, never seen it. The people who do that the most are all Christians.
You know why you don't know that? Because we're not tooting our own horn out here trying to get tax breaks for doing it. But we do it.
These old ladies ain't trying to get tax breaks. They're just
old ladies, your churches are doing it. Go ahead, Godless.
Yeah. So just to address this real quick, the problem with your stat there, Andrew, is the fact that typically atheists and secularists are going to be more leftist leaning, and the left leaning individuals would prefer to see the government actually provide more safety nets and everything like that, so that the government can provide for people, as opposed to requiring the bulk of the nation to do their charitable donations. And also, a bulk of these charitable donations are going to the church, and the churches, they don't actually help people out. I don't know if you've seen that one girl over there on TikTok going around asking churches, hey, I've got a starving baby. Will you give me formula? And all of the churches turned them away. But you know who told them, told this girl without any kind of hesitation to come down and we will get you some formula? Mosques. Mosques are the ones that accepted her and was like, hey, we'll give you some baby formula. All of the churches, they were like, nope, we don't do that. Maybe you should go to like a food pantry or something like that. So no, these churches don't help people. The charitable giving that you're reporting right here do not go to helping people. There are Christian charitable organizations out there, and that's perfectly fine. But to misrepresent the charitable givings of Christians as all being to these charitable organizations that actually do good is a total misrepresentation of the donations there. I don't know.
I didn't say all. I didn't say all. I said, and what you brought up, you said that, oh, the girl asked for formula from Muslims, which is still religious. It was a secularist that gave her the formula. They were Muslims. So secularists,
because she was calling religious institutions, Andrew. What the fuck is your problem? Like, are you seriously this dense? Or are you purposely being this dense?
No, the secularists knew about that she was doing this, right? You know about it.
Because she was recording them and putting them on TikTok as a test of religious institutions.
And she got help from a religious institution.
A Muslim one that you threw under a bus earlier.
I didn't throw no Muslim mosque under the bus.
No, yeah, you did. You threw them under the bus.
I didn't throw.
Yeah, you did. You could everybody could go back and re-listen to the past 50 minutes, and you'll hear Andrew throwing the Muslims under the bus, right? You did that. But I know specifically because I brought it up that Islam is at a different point in its life cycle than Christianity is. That's the only difference between the two. Otherwise, they're the same Abrahamic religion. They're the same shitty basis for their religion, right? They both have fundamentalist aspects to them that make them shitty. They're both the same. I remember making that several minutes ago.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but you're saying I threw a mosque. I didn't throw the mosque. I just said Islam.
No. I said Muslims. You threw Muslims under the bus.
Yeah, I didn't say Muslims. I'm not talking about individual Muslims. I'm talking about Islam.
Oh my God, you're being so fucking obtuse. I don't know. I'm done. I don't know if Thinker still wants to argue with you, but I'm fucking done with you. You know, honestly, Andrew, after you admitted that P3DOs are perfectly fine in your worldview, I've been done with you for a while.
Where was I when he said that?
I never.
It was a while ago.
I never said that. That's straight up cap. He talked about the debate that I had with Bible guy.
I was on the show with Bible guy. It was my show with Dalton, the Bible guy, and you admitted that it was perfectly fine to grape a teenage child. So I've just been done with you for a while now.
Oh yeah,
I did not
you
admit
gotta go.
that. Bible guys. No, I did not admit that. That's a lie. I did not admit that.
No, I mean, that's the reason why you were initially banned from the line. So no, I mean, that's it. Also, another person, another guest that I brought on there clocked you for that months before then. So no, Andrew, you're totally that kind of shitbag.
No, he only said that because he got offended when I told him to prove that God raped Mary in the Bible where it says that. He couldn't prove it, and then he thought I was justifying freaking rape. The rape.
You were.
Of young girls, and that wasn't. No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you were.
I've
got it on my channel. It's everywhere, Andrew. Everybody can see that. That's what you did.
I gotta save them. That's not what I did. That's just straight up cap.
All right, here you go. Andrew, was it wrong for God to forcefully impregnate Mary when she was 14 years old?
Are you asking me a question now, or are you playing a video?
No. I'm not playing a video. I'm asking you a question, Andrew. Was it wrong of God to forcefully impregnate a 14-year-old child?
If he did it by force, yeah, that would be wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. So this contradicts what you said earlier. That if it's part of God's purpose, then it's good. That's what you said. It was part of God's purpose to impregnate a 14-year-old child.
Well, she wasn't. Again, we haven't established that she was 14.
Oh my God.
Like, why do y'all like not read this story in its cultural context? At that time, the marriage age of a young girl in first century Rome would have been between the ages of 12 and 14. She was betrothed.
Marry herself.
She was betrothed.
That's fine, but it doesn't mean that she was pregnant at 14.
She was betrothed, and the marriage age at that time, during that time in history, was between the ages of 12 and 14. She was already betrothed to Joseph.
Can you show me any evidence in the Bible or any rabbi that says Mary was 14? Not what she might most likely might
see,
say.
it's this kind of ultra-specific nonsense that you need in order to accept the cultural context here. Because I could bring up Victor P. Hamilton, his work where he establishes the current, or not current, but at that particular time, the contemporary practices of fathers and marriage and everything like that. Like a father could sell his daughter before she was even 8 years old, and there was no way for her to refuse that. There was also the fact that he establishes that in the Jewish culture at that time, girls were married off at 14 as soon as they went through puberty. These are all things that are culturally established like in the Talmud and all this other stuff. So you can't sit, because that's where Victor P. Hamilton pulls his information from. But you don't want to admit that, because you have to make some kind of pedantic argument making Mary any other age other than a child. But in your worldview, the purpose of God was to impregnate a 14-year-old child, and you have to say that's good. Is it good for God to impregnate a 14-year-old child?
No.
No, it's not. So now you're being a hypocrite.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. If it was God's purpose to impregnate a 14-year-old child, as you established at the beginning of this call, anything that's outside of God's purpose is evil. So it would be evil for God not to rape that 14-year-old child.
No, anything that's outside of God's purpose would be evil. It's not in God's purpose to impregnate a 14-year-old.
Then why did he do it?
Like, take away the age. Take away the age. Just her period. Was it evil for your God to just rape her, period, and put his seed in her without her permission, period, and then tell her after the fact?
God didn't rape Mary. Like, I don't know why y'all keep saying that.
Did he not send an angel to her and say, "Hey, yo, you pregnant with God's child"?
No, he didn't say, "Hey, yo." No, he didn't say that.
See, this is the pedantic shit I'm talking about. I don't think you're done with Andrew.
Yeah, I'm done.
Y'all trying to.
No, sorry, I dropped him. Look, I'm done with the pedantic shit of like, nah, he didn't say ayo. Like, are you serious? Like, that's the thing you object to in that? Like, that's just fucking dumb.
Okay, we got more calls about God not evil, and then we have some science calls. What do you want?
I'm good either way. I'm here for it.
All right, let's see. This person's been waiting a while, so we're going to bring them on.
Okay.
I think this is your wheelhouse. I do not.
Yeah, we got James up here. Hey there, James. Can you hear us?
James from Oklahoma, and Andrew was kind of all over the place. My mom had a debate book back in the 1950s, and back then there was still a lot of stuff going on with the racial things. And one of the statements in there, about 50 pages in, it says if a whole group of men get together and they decide they want to go out and hang a man or lynch a man, he says what you have is a consensus, but a consensus bears neither merit nor morality. It is simply a consensus. Now, you brought up several things about laws and morals. Don't we have laws that prevent murder? Don't we have laws that do this? Well, if you think about every single person coming together, that they have representatives that go up, and the representatives pass laws. They say, hey, it's not good if people kill each other off. Well, you have a consensus, but what you have is not moral. In order to have a moral, you have to have something outside of the human consensus that establishes that moral boundary. And in the Bible, I see that God has established a morality, and he said this is what has to line up. Number one, if you look at the first four things in the Ten Commandments, it first establishes a moral alignment with God, that we have to give him God have to serve him, and him only shall we serve. And then it has our alignment between man and man. First man and God, and then man and man. And the law serves to show that we are incapable of kind of aligning to it.
James, mm-hmm. I want to test you on this real quick. So Exodus 21:7 says that a father may sell his daughter as a slave to a man for his sexual pleasure. Is that good or bad?
Where can you read that actual verse to me?
Yes, I can. Hold on. Let me look it up real quick.
Well, before we get to that, I do just want to add, like, your God was okay with people being hung. Like, David handed over 7 of Saul's sons. Hold on. David handed over 7 of Saul's sons to be hung to end the famine. Right? Like, we did not get our morals to not hang humans from your God. If anything, they believed that they could hang humans because your God allowed it. I just want to add that while Godless finds that scripture for you, because that was wild.
Yeah. So this is Exodus. James, hold on. This is Exodus 21. I'm starting in 21:7. If a man sells his daughter as a slave, she is not to be freed in the same way as male slaves are. So this is like the male slaves, meaning the indentured servants, the Hebrew Israelite slaves. They are freed every 6 years, I believe it is, and then in the Jubilee year. Yeah, well, they serve 6 years and then they're free in the 7th year. But if a man sells his daughter as a slave, she is a slave for life until the man, dismisses her and everything like that after he's used her up and everything. So now, is that good or is that bad?
Well, let's look at some of the context of some of the things that you had before already. And one is that as far as the battles with the Amalekites and the hamstringing the horses that you mentioned and some of the blood sacrifices. If we go back and look at the context of a lot of those things.
Can you answer Godless question? Because we don't want to talk to you about a conversation we had with Andrew.
Well, let me tell you a little bit with it, because the context.
No. Can you answer Godless? Like, we want to have our own conversation with you. We don't want to carry over of Andrew. Okay. Can you answer Godless question, please? In the context where a man sells the daughter, if it says as a slave or as a bride, is it as a bride or is it as a slave? What would the original Hebrew context be? Because if he sells her as a bride, then that bride is bound by the marriage, and the marriage doesn't release unless the man dies.
So James, I think the problem. So there's 2 different problems here. First of all, the Hebrew does say slave. It indicates slave. It uses the word for slave, which is a bed. That's number one. But also, you seem to be rationalizing selling women Why do you want to be on the internet rationalizing?
I'm not rationalizing the selling of women, but I know that a lot of the times, whenever the context of slavery was mentioned, that the slavery was as a way of debt relief for people that were like the indentured servitude. And most of the time I've seen slavery mentioned.
Sure, some were. So that's right. Yeah, some were. Indentured servants or debt slavery was a thing at the time. This is not that. This is a man selling his daughter as a slave to another man.
Right. Well, if they're sold into a as a slave, as an indentured kind of thing, or as an indebtedness, if she is sold to resolve a debt, you know, like back then, whenever a woman was married, she had to have a dowry that was given with her. The family had to pay for the woman to be married, and that dowry that was given with her.
Again, the problem here, James, is that you're rationalizing selling women. Why are you rationalizing sex trafficking?
I'm not rationalizing the selling of women. I'm saying that a lot of times back then, the cultural norm was that if they were indebted, that they would sell one of the women as a bride, and
that's not happening here, though. In Exodus 21, that's not what's happening here. The women are amaz, right? They are actual slaves.
I'd have to look.
It says Vaki yimkor ish et bato la amar lo te e kizat ha avanim. She was a slave. Okay. And then if her master paired her with a male slave and they had children, the man, if he wanted to stay with his wife and children, he had to become a lifetime slave because the woman and the children belonged to the master. This was breeding. The women and the children were lifetime chattel slaves. Only the men here were released during Jubilee.
Well, the man, if he wanted to stay with the wife, then he will
become a lifetime slave because the wife was a lifetime slave.
But if you look in the context of the Hebrew slavery, they were required to provide for the servants. They were required to provide for the slaves as they would for one in their own household.
So did they in America? Like, no one's going to pay $1,000 for a slave and let him die.
Right.
Right. So you're taking care of your investment?
Yeah.
They took care of their investment. They didn't do it because they loved them. Slaves were assets.
They were required not to beat them. They were required,
They wouldn't beat them because, again, it's their labor. Like, think about why the bourgeoisie didn't want their slaves fighting in the Civil War.
Slaves were beaten.
Ask yourself why the bourgeoisie did not want their slaves fighting in the Civil War. They paid $1,000 per slave. You thought that they were going to let them go and fight a war? They used the low-income, illiterate, poor white people to fight for them. They did not want to lose their investments. They did not want to lose their assets.
They also knew what side they would fight on.
Well, no, James, also, there needs to be a caveat with that. Don't beat your slaves. You can't beat your slaves till death. If you beat your slave, and they get up, what is it, after like 3 days or something like that, as long as they live, you can beat them as much as you want to. So that's just not even true, James. But all this was initially to point out this so-called moral system that's outside of human influence or something like that. The thing that I have a problem with in Christianity is that when you take the moral system and you remove the human aspect to the human consideration and you put it in the hands of some deity out there, then you're not doing things that are good for human beings. You're doing things that are good for the deity. And what's good for the deity is definitely not anything concerned with the well-being of human beings. That's the point that I'm making here. If you're going to base your moral system on something that's outside of the human experience, then you run the risk of doing things that are detrimental to the human experience. Tell me, Exodus 21:7, what is the benefit to the human experience that an omniscient God, so supposedly eternal, omniscient, omnipotent, omnibenevolent God, dictated to the fathers of Israel that they can sell their daughters as slaves, specifically sexual slaves?
Well, let's jump to this verse for that, and that is that whenever Jesus was in the temple, he had some of the people that came up to him and said, "Hey, if he said, if a woman was married and then she ended up married, and he died, and the next brother came in and he died, and the next brother came in, and he's like, why is this? How's this going to be?" And he said, well, that the marriage in the beginning was one man, one woman, one lifetime. And then they said, well, if that's true,
no,
why did God give?
No, that's just not true. That is not true. It's not been one man, one woman. It's one woman paired to a man, but the man can have multiple wives and concubines.
But he said, how was it in the beginning? And he said it was that God brought the woman to the man, and they were married. And they said, well, why is it then that Abraham gave us the ruling for divorce? And he said, because your hearts are hard. And
wait, do you mean Moses?
In the inherent Moses. In the inherent sinfulness of man, when we were in the garden, God basically gave us work to do. He said, dress it and keep it. He said, eat whatever you want, except for this one fruit, the knowledge of the tree of good.
James, I'm sorry. We're going all over the place here. This is not having a giant effect on me right now, primarily because God at one time Hadoukened a fireball up two priests' asses and caused them to spontaneously combust when they used the wrong fire to light his fucking incense. And you're sitting here telling me, well, God's heart was, he said that the humans' hearts were just too hard for divorce and all this other shit. They were just too hard for him to say, don't sell your daughters as sexual slaves. Like, are you... He killed two people for using the wrong kind of fire to do it. And you're telling me that it was too much for God to say, hey, don't sell children as sexual slaves? Get the fuck out of here, James.
The spirit of the two guys that burned the wrong incense, he told them what kind of incense to burn, and they burned it for the wrong reasons.
It just whoosh, right over your head, James. Do you understand the problem that can you maybe steel man the problem that I have?
I can see what you're going to, that the context of selling the girl as a full-time, as a long-term slave. Yeah.
No. I have a problem with the hypocrisy of the whole idea that humans' hearts were so hard that God had to allow divorce and other bad things. But at the same time, he requires a specific kind of fire in order to light his incense with, and he kills two priests because of it. But apparently it's just way too much for God to be like, hey, don't sell your daughters as slaves. Also, women are human beings too. Don't treat them like they're property. But you know what? God still in Exodus 20:17 says women are property, just like your chattel slaves are your property too. So like, you don't sit there and tell me that humans' hearts were too hard when God requires specific fire and kills people when they use the wrong kind of fire. God also killed a bunch of Israelites because they were a bit too lippy with him complaining about shit in the desert. God caused an entire generation of Israelites to die wandering in the desert because Moses fucking smacked a rock instead of yelling at it. Don't sit there and tell me that humans' hearts were too hard to tell them to stop selling women as slaves.
Well, I'm telling you this, and that is that if you want to talk about morals can't come from a human consensus. It has to.
Oh my fucking Christ! And it can't come from your fucking God either, James. That's what I've been trying to tell you.
But morals do come from human consensus. Like humanity did not come to the decision to abolish slavery because your God commanded it. There's absolutely nothing in this book where your God says, I changed my mind. I was wrong to regulate slavery. Don't do it anymore. Like humanity, Christians had to reinterpret text in order to convince Christians, Southern Christians, that your Jesus was against slavery, because there is no outright condemnation of the practice. In fact, he leaves it off with instructing Paul to instruct Christians who are enslaved to obey their earthly masters, including their harsh ones, and to do it with a little bit of back into it. He says, don't do it to please humans. Do it because it is the will of God. Like, there's nothing in this book where your God commands for people to stop owning slaves. Humans came to that moral standard together. And now you want to revise history and say your God has always been against slavery, when that is not the case.
I say God has a better plan for us than what you try to stick him out to be. And I say the context has everything. If you look at a lot of the places where he sent them in to go after the Amorites, he told Israel, he says, your generations are going to suffer under Pharaoh for 400 years, and I'm going to bring them out with a mighty hand. But he says that the sin of the Amorites is not yet full. He gave them 600 years, and they were sacrificing their children to Amalek and to Molech and burning them in fires and killing them all.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry there, James. Did you know that the Israelites originally had mandates to sacrifice their firstborn children?
Well, I know that Abraham, whenever he took his son up there to do the sacrifice, that God held his hand and stopped him.
No. Originally Yahweh required you to redeem the firstborn, and the way that you redeemed the firstborn was you either sacrificed a lamb, kind of like what Abraham did, or if you couldn't sacrifice, if you didn't redeem the firstborn, either human or animal, you ended up having to break its neck. Right. And so the example was given the donkey, but very obviously it's juxtaposed, like the human sacrifice there is juxtaposed against the donkey's neck being broken as a way of saying, oh, we need to redeem. We don't need to not redeem the firstborn of every child. You've got in Exodus 13:13, that's where it specifically lays it out. And then you've got Ezekiel 20:29, I believe it is, where God admits to requiring the Israelites to do detestable things like sacrificing their firstborn children. So it is there. Now, it is true that later priestly sources came in and contextualized all of that to be like a dedication to priestly service, but that comes much later in the Israelites' history. Originally, it was actually sacrificing the firstborn children.
I've never seen anything where they said they had to sacrifice the firstborn children. Now, the redemption through the animals, the sacrificial system, if you look in Isaiah chapter 46, verse 10, he says, proclaiming the end from the beginning, and from ancient times those things which are not yet as though they already were. My words will be established, and I'll do as I please. God came in and said, I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. I'm going to tell you how I'm going to do it, and then show you and do it, and that way you know it's me. And the one thing differing about the Christian religion than from any other religious book is the prophecy.
No, wait, before you move on to prophecies, like, you brought up the fact that your God sent his chosen into Egypt to be enslaved for 400 years while he sat back and watched the Canaanites supposedly do all of this evil. And he waited until they got so evil before he released his Israelites from slavery, where he allowed them to go through suffering so that they could go into Canaan and kill these evil Canaanites. Your all-powerful God, who has the power to wake people up in the morning, sat back and watched the Canaanites just do evil. He didn't introduce himself to them at all because they didn't know your God. He did not go and say, hey, let me give you these laws that I've not yet given Moses, because I'm going to hold you accountable for some shit that I'm going to give to my people. I'm going to hold you accountable for the shit that you don't know yet.
Go back.
And that's what that's what you're calling moral. You're literally saying your God sat back and watched these people do evil shit without knowing your God. And he did nothing about it until he raised up some mercenaries to go in and commit murder.
Sit back and listen a minute. Everybody was in the garden.
No, we're not going to the garden. We at the garden. There's no need to go. There's no need to go to the garden. What we're talking about right now is the fact that your God sat back.
You're not going
hold on. No, what we're talking about is the fact that your God sat back for 400 years and was like, nope, them motherfuckers ain't evil enough yet. And not one time did he intervene and introduce himself to the Canaanites. He just sat back and waited until his mercenaries were ripe.
I think you're wrong.
That's literally what you said. You brought up the fact that he said that the sin of the Canaanites have not gotten to
the is not yet full. Yeah.
Yes. So he sat back and he watched them continue to do evil, sacrifice to Molech, although the book doesn't say that they did that. The Israelites were the one who built the Tophet to Molech, but that's besides the point right now. Your God sat back and watched them just do evil, and he's like, oh, the thermometer ain't hot enough yet, while his mercenaries were cooking in Egypt.
You said they didn't know. I think they did.
I don't care what you think. There ain't nothing in this book that says that they did. There is absolutely nothing. There is nothing in this book that says that the Canaanites knew your God or his laws and statutes.
Bullshit. I'm going to call
bullshit. Then show it to me. Show it to me.
All right. Adam in the garden.
I ain't talking about Adam. I'm talking about the Canaanites.
Show me. Trying to tell you,
I don't feel like that bullshit. I don't feel like going to the garden.
I'm going to tell you.
I don't want to go to the garden.
If you're going to be pig-headed about it.
I don't want to go to the garden. Show me where. Talk to me about the Canaanites. Show me where it says the Canaanites knew your God before the Israelites were sitting in there. Show me. Will you stop talking while I'm talking? Show me. I want to talk about the Canaanites. Show me where it says the Canaanites knew your God before your God sent the Israelites in there to murder them.
All right. If you'll listen, I'll tell you. Back in the garden, Adam walked with God.
Oh, my fucking gosh.
Hang on a minute.
No, because the Canaanites don't have anything to do with the garden.
I'm trying to shorten this as quick as I can.
Go to the Canaanites.
I'm trying to shorten this as quick as possible.
Adam don't have anything to do with the Canaanites.
I guess this conversation's done if you're not going to listen.
Then I guess it's done. We got other people in the queue.
If you're going to listen,
I don't know who you think you're talking to.
Something.
I don't know who you think you're talking to. There is no need for us to be in the garden. I asked you about the Canaanites.
And I'm trying to tell you that they knew that there was a God.
I did not ask you if they knew that there was a God. I asked you if they knew your God. And I want you to take me to the verse that says that. And you trying to gaslight me and bullshit me with this garden story. There is no need for you to be going to the garden. The question that I asked you has nothing to do with Adam and Eve. Take me to the scripture that says the Canaanites knew. Take me to the scripture that says the Canaanites knew Yahweh. Or Jehovah, or whatever you call them.
Do you think that Noah and his sons did not know about God?
I didn't ask about Noah and his sons. I didn't ask about Noah and his sons. I did not ask you about Noah and his sons.
Do you not think that if there was a global flood? I did not ask you about Noah and his sons. You ask about the Canaanites who were descendants of Noah's children.
I want to see the scripture. I want to see the scripture that says the Canaanites knew your God. The Israelites didn't even know your God when Moses came. The Israelites didn't even know your God or what to call him when Moses came and rescued them. So how are you going to say that the Canaanites knew him before the Israelites did?
They had to have known that there was a God.
Ain't no had to have known.
From the beginning.
They ain't no had to have known. Your God sat back. Your God sat back and watched all this evil happen. Your God sat back. Your God, then go hang up. Then go hang up then. Bye.
Bye.
I mean, I don't understand the pivot. Like, he just constantly pivoted in one direction or another. He wouldn't actually answer any of the questions. That's crazy.
I think they did know God. They knew a God. That's not what I asked you. I want to go to the garden and we'll take a trip after this phone call. But right now we in Canaan. That's what I asked you about. Like, that's ridiculous.
Oh man. All right. I'm good for either one that's left there in the queue. Actually,
I got to do the announcements right quick. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say we should probably do the announcements.
First off, we are excited to announce the launch of our 2026 Back Cruise, August 15th at 7 p.m. Tickets are on sale now and they're going fast. And there's going to be exciting events all weekend, including a special guest lecture on Friday, a community outing and activity during the day on Saturday, followed by our annual members town hall, and your favorite ACA shows filmed live from the Free Thought Library on Sunday. Featured guest, genetically modified skeptic in the Antibot. Tickets available at aca.show/backcruise. And stick around until the end of the show for a special announcement about Back Cruise. We want to send a big thank you out to the crew who put this show together every week. Video operators, audio operators, note takers, call screeners, and chat moderators. Would you like to be one of those attractive crew members, be a guest on one of our shows, or eventually become a host? We're always looking for people interested in becoming part of our productions team, so email volunteer@atheistcommunity.org to get involved. All right, we're going to take another call.
All right.
Let's take Georgi.
Hello.
Georgi, hi, how are you?
I'm doing well.
You want to make an argument that God is a DJ?
Yes.
Is DJ short for devil joke or something? Demon?
No wordplay, no, nothing like this. I think that God is nothing without us.
Okay. I mean, in what capacity are you saying that he's nothing without us?
That we provide the experience he can't have an experience without us.
I agree with you 100%. I don't think that there really is, any type of disagreement there. I agree that the God can't do anything without a human being. I think that God is a concept that lives in the minds of humans. They are his mouth, his mind, his brain. Like, he doesn't have any of that without a human. So, I mean, I agree.
Yeah, I'm not in disagreement about it. So, good.
Well, my beliefs are hippy dippy new age, so I'm aware that I can't provide a very stable argument.
Well, so now, George, are you saying that God exists, but he somehow only exists because we believe in him? Like, is that your argument?
Yeah, I think we're eternal beings, and that is the way things are. It's like we deal with the physical reality, and also when we're in spirit, we have to deal with eternity.
Okay.
Just what things are for me.
What's the evidence that we're eternal beings?
Well, a strong point is that we practically live in a quantum world. that everything is possible.
If everything is possible, that's okay. I don't know. I don't honestly, George. I don't know what to do with that, bud. Just gonna be straight with you.
How about we look at the pyramids and the relics that we have all around the world, in the Mexico, in the Egypt, in South America.
Okay. I don't know how that's going to get us to human beings are eternal beings, but also there's only so many ways you can stack stuff and it be, you know, secure in its foundation. So, I mean, the fact that multiple different civilizations figured out how to build pyramids is not indicative of any kind of shared consciousness or any kind of like external beings that gave us that information. I mean, essentially, it's like, hey, how do I stack these shit bricks this high? Oh, maybe I should do it this way. Maybe I should do it that way. And they both figured out different ways to do it. In fact, the pyramids, I've actually been to the pyramids over there in Central America. They're fantastic. They're amazing, but they're also very different than the pyramids that are over there in Giza. Now, I haven't been to the pyramids in Giza, but I mean, you could obviously tell that they're very different in their structure. So, I mean, yeah, they're pyramids, but I mean, they're still different. I don't know. Were you trying to use the pyramids in order to prove that, like, what were you trying to use them to prove? Maybe I jumped in on this a little bit too quick.
Well, let's take a look at Machu Picchu. It's on top of a mountain, and the stones are all sizes, curved, and it's like what is going on? It's like on top of a mountain, and who the hell in caveman time is going to do that?
Cavemen?
Yeah, like in ancient time, caveman time.
I feel like you're mixing up time periods here. And also, cavemen is not a scientific designation of a period of human development. That it would be better if you use something that was more indicative of an actual period. Are you talking about a time frame in which we were still hunter-gatherers and we were mixing with Neanderthals? Because that happened way before we started building settlements. We were still in nomadic, groups that were hunter-gatherers, and so we would move with the populations of animals as well as seasons. We didn't have like fixed locations. So there's that. And then if you're talking about the time at which we started building things in Central America, that would have been a more agrarian kind of situation because they were actually laying down settlements as opposed to being nomadic tribes. So it kind of seems like you're mixing up time periods here. Could you be a bit more specific?
I don't know the consensus on what time period Machu Picchu was built, but for me, it's like it's on top of a mountain. Something is going on. Yeah,
people climb the mountain with stones on their backs, and they built shit. Also, Machu Picchu was built in the 15th century.
Okay.
So not cavemen times. This is Googleable shit there, Georgie.
But it's on top of a mountain, man. It's like something is going on. Who is going to go there?
Do you need something magical in order to carry a rock up the side of a mountain?
Why don't we have the information on how they build them?
Who says that we don't have that information?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Why the fuck would you say it?
Like, I'm confused. Is he trying to say, I thought his original stance was that the God wasn't nothing without us. Now it sounds like he's saying that the God helped them build this. Like, what is he saying?
I typically
I'm sorry, I zoned out. I didn't catch that.
No, that's fine. I think that he's trying to make. I don't know. Typically, people bring up Machu Picchu and the pyramids when they're wanting to go ancient aliens type shit. Are you doing ancient alien shit
okay.
as being as being the
Something like
gods,
that, yeah.
or like?
Yeah.
See, I called
Something
it.
like-
Fucking called it. I knew it.
I believe in aliens, of course. It's part of the deal.
Okay.
Are aliens God to you?
No, not at all. We are equals.
Okay. Oh my God. Let's see. Machu Picchu was built using a masterclass of Inca engineering called ashlar masonry, where stones were cut to fit together perfectly without any mortar. There's underground terraces. There's deep foundations. There's a drainage system. Llama power. Yeah, the heavy stones were hauled up the steep mountain ridges using ropes, ramps, and pure human and animal labor. We know how this was built there, Georgi. Like, I don't. What's the point? Can you
Then
make
why
a
don't we
point?
do stuff like that anymore?
Because we have better ways of carrying stones up mountains, and we also don't have to build on mountains like that. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're pointing out here. Like, so how does this connect? Can you connect this back to God for us? Because I'm even lost now.
Right. So there are infinite possibilities in our world and in spirit. And incarnating in worlds like this is just one way to deal with eternity. That's all.
I'm sorry, that was a whole bunch of word salad to me. Could you maybe break it down to me like I'm 5 years old?
Well, God is nothing special, but without us, there would be no adventure, no worlds like ours.
But I think we've agreed with you on that, but it's kind of sound like you're adding aliens in this.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They have their own adventures.
Aliens too?
Well, there are ETs, extraterrestrials, that are humanoid, and just live on another planet. And aliens are very alien to us.
Aliens are aliens
No shit.
to us. I think this is more of a Truth Wanted.
Truth Wanted. Yeah. Georgi, you missed Truth Wanted by just a little bit. They start at, I believe, about 2:45 p.m. Central time, if I'm not mistaken there. Which I can't. Hold on, I can't see Kelley. Kelley, give me a thumbs up. Did I get that time frame right? 2:45. Yeah, about 2:45 Central Time on Sundays is Truth Wanted, and trust me, they would love to interact with you on some alien stuff. Okay.
All right, let me just ask you, what it takes for you to believe that God is real, but He's nothing special, that we're part of Him, and we also have infinite awareness where we are in spirit.
I mean,
Okay.
I think I already said that. I think the God exists in your minds. Like the God is real because you believe the God is real. And so you do and say and act because you believe that that's what the God wants you to do.
So would you agree that everything is connected even on a physical level, like physical laws?
Everything is connected.
What do you? Everything like
Even
what?
on a physical level,
Like what?
like the whole universe, for example. One example. With physical laws.
With physical laws?
Like gravity.
I mean, not in the way that you're meaning it. I
don't know how you would know that. Like, why are you asking me would I agree that? Like, how would I be able to say, yep, I've tested that, I know that?
Like I asked, what would it take for you to say, okay, God exists, but he's nothing special.
I already told you, I think your God exists in your minds.
All right.
Yeah, like
I agree. We're one with God.
I didn't say that. That's not the same thing. Your God exists in your mind. You hold a belief in a God. So the God is real to you. So you act on behalf of that belief. And that makes the God real, right? Because you exist.
I would say it's not far-fetched to think that there's an eternal spirit that we're part of.
I didn't
Those
say
are just
that.
claims. Georgi, those are
But
just
it's not
claims. You have
far-fetched
to be able to prove them.
I didn't say that either. I said the God was an idea that you hold in your mind, that you hold in your thoughts and your heart, and you act on behalf from that idea, like the inspiration of the God. It's kind of like when they say that all scripture is inspired by God. Scripture is inspired by men who believed in a God. They wrote from their belief, like that belief was the inspiration for why they wrote what they wrote. Not that a God told them what to say. And so I think all of you who hold a belief in a God, your worldview is inspired by that belief, and that makes the God real to you.
I think, in my point of view, is that if infinity and eternity were something non-existent, we couldn't even talk about this stuff, have ideas, wrap around our minds around these kind of ideas. Because if they didn't exist, we would be something different. We would be maybe more constrained or something.
What do you have to do with infinity and eternity? Like, have you ever looked to see like what your experience would be if you lived within the time of eternity?
Well, spirit is a timeless state of being, so there is no time.
That doesn't make sense.
So I was thinking of something.
Georgi, that's incoherent.
Okay.
Okay.
Like God is nothing special. Our natural state is with God in spirit, being blissed out and stuff like that.
Well, I think you should call Truth Wanted next Sunday and have this conversation. We do have one more call to go before the end of the show. I thank you so much for calling in, though. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Have a nice.
You're welcome, Juan. Have a great night.
All right. Okay. So we do have our last caller, and then we're going to get to any super chats that anybody has. So send in those super chats if you want us to address those.
Hello.
Hi.
AG. Hi. How are you? Is it AG?
Juan.
Juan.
The name is Juan. Yes, I'm Hispanic.
Oh. And so you want to call in about the possibility of God existing and not caring about human morality. Okay. What are your thoughts?
And also to discuss about you guys' certainty on materialism, on that worldview.
Okay.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Which one you want to start with?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Which topic would you like me to start with?
Is your God evil? Well, first off, you said you want to talk about the possibility of God existing. I'm willing to grant you that the God exists for the purposes of getting to the actual topic. I mean, I don't know if Godless wants to have the conversation with you about God existing or not, but I quite frankly would just grant, for the purposes of an eternal critique, that your God exists for this conversation?
Yeah, I'm really an agnostic in respect of like any more specific definition of God. But what I do have is that I don't think I am like a materialist or like a purely naturalist anymore.
Okay, so you're agnostic. You don't have a belief in a God. You don't necessarily subscribe to a God.
Could you repeat? I'm sorry.
I'm trying to make sure I understood what you said. You're agnostic, and you don't necessarily subscribe to any specific deity. Like, are you an agnostic theist?
Maybe more or less, more like a panentheist, you know, like maybe God, you know, the material world is basically inside God, but God is like something greater than the material world. And the reason I say the thing about morality is because I do agree with you that in the strict traditional, like classical theist definition, there is the useful dilemma. That basically you cannot have the three triomni characteristics at the same time. And I'm sometimes like just tempted to, you know, the possibility that either it is the moral aspect, you know, omnibenevolence, that a God, to be consistent, would not have it, or it could also be lack of omnipotence in a traditional sense, you know? But that wouldn't mean that there wouldn't be a God that is like a non-materialistic basis for reality, you know?
I'm sorry, I'm having a little difficulty understanding you. So I don't you're saying that you believe that God God is omnibenevolent.
No, that God may not be omnibenevolent or may not be omnipotent in the traditional sense.
But what God? Like, are you saying the universe is God, nature is God? Like, what is God to you, though?
No, I'm not saying that nature is God, but that I'm inclined to think that there must be a God in the sense of a non-materialistic basis for reality.
Non-materialistic basis for reality?
Yeah. Because
So hold on, Juan.
I have a really hard time reconciling, you know, materialism with the problem of consciousness and my direct access to consciousness.
Juan.
Yes?
So I get that you want to think that there's some kind of magical basis for reality, but that's kind of a bit of a logical leap there, going from reality exists and it requires some kind of magical aspect to it in order for it to exist. So can you help build that bridge between reality and the God, the God that you think exists, that reality is dependent upon?
The reason why I say that is my, you know, and it's a classic problem for materialism. How do you reconcile the problem of consciousness and your direct access to first-hand subjective experience, and
So
with the
well, hold on. Before you go on, you mentioned one thing, and that's the problem of consciousness. And for me personally, I'm an emergentist. So like consciousness is an emergent property of a complex central nervous system. And so that what that means is that, you know, not only humans can have a consciousness, obviously other animals, other life forms can be conscious. There's also a difference in levels of consciousness. Like there's very basic consciousness, and then there's sentience and all this other stuff. So like, but I think that it all depends on how complex the central nervous system is and how the central nervous system interacts with the environment around it and reacts to stimulus. So like all of that is an emergent property. And so our consciousness, our experiences, all of those things can be interpreted through like the chemical processes and the structures of our brains and everything. So like we don't need some magical aspect to consciousness in order to explain it.
But still, has he stated what that magical aspect is?
Other than an ambiguous God figure, no, he hasn't really been able to describe it. He just keeps jumping from claim to claim.
It would be consciousness, you know, God would
So
be,
consciousness is God?
like the primordial consciousness.
I'm sorry. Juan, are you saying consciousness would be God?
Not all consciousness in you know, in a trivial sense, but all consciousness would be derived from the consciousness of God.
What is the God, though?
It would be the you know, the vision that the universe and what is potentially outside the universe are part.
So when I said you're saying the universe is God, you said no, but you are saying that?
I'm saying that the universe would be a part of God. Yes.
The universe is a part of God.
Yes.
But what is the God? Like, what's beyond what else? What other part of him? It would be nature. You're saying everything, the universe, nature, humans, everything is God, is what you are saying?
No.
So what's the other part of God? You got the universe, and what else?
Could you repeat that?
What are the other parts of your God? The universe and what else? If not consciousness, the universe and what? Because the reason why I need to figure this out is because the other part of your reason for calling is to discuss whether or not your God could be evil and not care about morals. And we can't have that discussion until we know what you're calling God.
All right. What I'm calling God would be the how do I describe it? It would be the organicity of the universe, you know, and the of existence. I'm calling God the origin of, you know, in kind of a Platonic sense, the origin of existence, basically.
Well, so this just sounds like presuppositional apologetics. Like you're just presupposing that there is a God that exists and it is the non-contingent thing that everything else is contingent upon. Is that what you're doing, or are you doing a contingency argument?
I do think the contingency argument, which I do think going from the contingency argument to immediately like the Christian God would be a high reach, a high jump. But I'm not saying that. I'm saying exactly what the contingency argument would imply, this kind of causation. I'm not presupposing like the Christian God or the God of a specific religion. I do from the ones that kind of have the tendency that there is some truth in like most religions, but people often misunderstand what people like me say when we say that. When I say that, I don't mean that every religion is consistent with each other, but that I see, and if you study like comparative religion and mythology, you can see like patterns that emerge that are kind of common to different religions. For example, I think it's amazing and escapes from my my possibility of having kind of a natural explanation that for example, something that the mysticism of the medieval philosopher mystic Meister Eckhart has a very similar metaphysics to the metaphysics of Zen Buddhism, for example. They are very similar metaphysics when you analyze those different systems that never came in contact with each other.
No. I don't.
It's very hard to follow. It's very hard to follow, and not like, why argue something that you cannot?
But my point is that I don't, in this very moment, I don't lend more credibility to the materialist hypothesis than to a non-materialistic or idealistic option.
What seems to give you the indication that something more than the material world exists?
Well, for example, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to do like a gotcha with this or something, but you said that you are an emergentist, I think
right.
Emergentism is not like a strict materialism. Because when you say that something categorically different emerges from matter, but is not matter in itself, that is bringing another metaphysical realm to the conversation. That emergentism, surely matter would precede that, but it still is another categorically different thing that matter. I think emergentism most of the times is a kind of dualism.
No. No, I mean, emergent properties are not the same thing as dualism. Emergent properties are when, there's an interaction between different individual things, and then this other property then manifests. So, I mean, it's based in a materialistic sort of framework, just because the emergent properties aren't like one-to-one directly represented in the material world, like consciousness or anything like that. Just because there's not like a one-to-one thing and it's more of a complex situation doesn't mean that it's like dualism. Like, I don't know what you're talking about here. I don't know. I kind of feel like we're really not we're not getting too many really anywhere with you, Juan. You've got a very confusing sort of theology here, as well as not really. It seems like you really don't know how to describe it. What I'm getting out of it is, you seem to be like a presuppositionalist. You presupposing that this God is necessary for reality, given some various reasons that you think that emergent properties or properties of this reality that aren't directly represented by materialism, like thoughts, consciousness, that kind of thing. Somehow that proves that there's a magical aspect to this reality, and I just don't see that. I don't see that as being, all that indicative of it. It kind of reminds me of like if you were to mix two different colors together and you get a different color, like that different color is still represented by reality, right? It's still part of the natural world, even if that color is made by mixing two different colors. I don't know. I'm thoroughly confused, Juan, and but more importantly, we are kind of at time for our show.
Okay. Just like one last thing I need to clarify. It's not just one reason. Like I have talked about the. I do take seriously the contingency argument, but I do not do the stupid thing of presupposing just a specific religion because of that. But it's not only that; it's arguments against. Not arguments, but reasons why I specifically would think that materialism cannot be true because and I see and I do think emergentism, it's not the traditional dualism, but I do think it is a form of dualism. That is
okay. That's fine if you want to think that, but the dualism thing is not the same thing as emergentism. How about this? Maybe we can come to an agreement that you can go back and workshop this idea, right? Get it written down either in a syllogistic form or in any other kind of way where you've got a clear, description of what you're trying to put down here. And maybe you can come back and we can run through that for any kind of logical consistency. Do you think that might be something that you can do, is to workshop this idea into some kind of like description of what you're trying to say?
Yeah, okay, man.
I think this would be better for Truth Wanted as well, or Talk Heathen.
Yeah, good.
Like it's not what we're discussing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's a good idea. But so yeah,
I was trying to get you to the topic. Like you said that you want to talk about, how the God could be evil and not care about human morality, right? And that part seemed pretty interesting to me, but I don't see how we can discuss that with you when you're having difficulty even describing what your idea of the God is. And so unfortunately, I'm not interested in, the philosophical conversation about, men going back and forth about explaining something that no one can definitively prove, So I'm willing to give you that the God exists, but you can't explain what it is. Like you can't explain what it is. And like, I don't want to start the conversation back up because we do have to get to reading the super chats and stuff and into our announcement. But like Godless said, if you workshop it a little bit, come back and be able to very clearly and concise say what it is that you believe a God is to you. And then maybe call into Truth Wanted or Talk Heathen and talk that through with the host there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I also, that's a good idea, but you mentioned something that reminded me that I have problems with the Popperian definition of like what you could consider true empiricism, because something
you gotta call back. You gotta call during Truth Wanted or Talk Heathen. Okay, we have to move on.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to interact with you on any kind of good level with you right now. So let's save that for Truth Wanted or Talk Heathen. Talk Heathen, I believe, starts around 1 p.m. Central on Sundays, and then Truth Wanted is at 2:45 p.m. Central on Sundays. So just earmark those for next week, okay, Juan? And just spend this next week workshopping this idea, all right?
Sure. That's a good homework. Okay, I will have my ideas written down next week, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Have a good one, Juan. Thank you so much for calling.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, have a good day. I hope you have a good life.
Okay.
You too, Juan.
All right.
All right.
I'm sorry. Do you want to do the?
No. You do it. You do it.
Okay.
You're the host. Sorry.
Okay. That's okay. I was trying to figure out. So we want to thank. I guess we'll go ahead and do the super chats, and then bring in the backup. So do you want to bring the super chats on stage, and then I read one, and then you read one?
Yep.
Okay. So the first one is from AG 499. Thank you, AG. Says the nerds are in the building. Thank you so much, AG.
Yep. And then we got Infidel sending in the 1999 saying you don't have to be homophobic if you are Christian, but you can't be homophobic if you are a humanist. That's a pretty good idea right there. I mean, I agree. If you're a humanist, you're definitely not going to be homophobic.
I agree. Slow TDI, thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat. Let me run by grandstanding, bruh, ain't okay.
I think that was talking about Andrew, and he was definitely trying to grandstand. Blind Limey sending in the 10 saying tonight on Atheist Gear, John talks about effing Satan, Thinker casts pearls before swine, and Kelley gives in to the voices.
Slow TDI 499. North Korea isn't atheistic. They worship their leader. Just because it's not your God doesn't mean they are atheistic. Like, holy shit, this guy.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of people confuse state atheism with just the atheist demographic in general. And they don't realize that state atheism is where you replace the state or the supreme leader, in this case, as the religion, and you worship the state or the leader or whatnot as a deity. They don't seem to understand the differences there. Slow TDI sending in the 499 again, saying North Korea worships their leader like a god, just because it's not your god. Okay, so this is just twice. Holy fuck, this guy's grasping at straws.
Yeah,
I see.
It's at the ending. Slow TDI again. Oh no, Android's factory resetting.
Yeah, he totally did that. Slow TDI again, 199 saying, but don't look at the 10th number. That would be bad.
The 10th number? What are you talking about?
I think it's the 10th. I think that's what the James call the Exodus 2017, the 10th commandment.
Oh, what? I must have missed it. Don't look at the 10th number. Oh, the 10th. No, that would be bad. I read that as number. I mean, did you read that as number?
I thought it was number 2. I thought it might have been the 10th commandment because we're talking about
don't look at the 10th. No, that would be bad. I'm like 10th number. Okay. I'm a bit confused. Okay. And then unashamed apostate. There is no context that makes slavery okay, Jim. Your views are as gross as your gods. Thirsty for thinker. That's the hashtag. Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much, unashamed apostate. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here today. Kelley, what did you think about the show?
Yeah, I had a lot of thoughts about this show. I don't want to take up too much time.
You were cracking me up backstage.
Awesome. I always try to crack the host up at least once. So I did it. I wrote some notes, as I usually do. Andrew, if you're still listening and you really, really don't know why killing is wrong, please do not move next door to me. Please. That's the one thing I'm asking of you. And then Juan, I didn't really have too much to say about, but Georgi, boy, how did the Incans do all that work? You may not know this because you haven't read all the Spanish writings from the time period that were written down and preserved, but we do know how the Incans built everything. And we also know that the Incan leader, the Incan king, as you will, had forced all the peasants to pay 2 weeks of their taxes as labor every year. So every male person in the entire Incan empire had to work for the empire 2 weeks of every year. I guess that was their vacation. So
vacation.
And that's how they kept up the highways. That's how they built those amazing buildings and temples that they built. So just to give you a better insight to it. So, you were talking about how they built the stones so they weren't all like in a row like bricks are today. The reason they did that, and we found out, we've done science, man, we've done testing, those hold up better in earthquakes. And the Incan Empire was built in a place where there are lots of earthquakes. So that's why they built it that way, making all those weird shapes and sticking them together. So and this is all stuff you can just Google and find out, honestly, if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
So that's all I got to say.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that with us.
I taught it. I taught some people some stuff there in Truth Wanted, and I figured I might as well just keep teaching. So.
Well, I thank you. Thank you for the work you do with Truth Wanted, because those conversations are very interesting indeed. And I think it's pretty cool when people can go down that rabbit hole of information, like aliens and all of that. So
I thank you. I mean, that's my bread and butter, but you are amazing at the Bible. I mean, I appreciate what you do. So don't sell yourself short. You are totally amazing to me. So
thank you. I appreciate it.
I wish I had your knowledge.
Well, look, we're envious of each other right now. So, all right, so we do have a special announcement about the back cruise. Godless, do you want to make your announcement first?
Yeah. So I don't know how many of y'all out there know this, but Thinker is actually going to be at the back cruise this year.
Oh, awesome.
As a special featured host at the back cruise, and we'll be hosting AxP the next day.
Yeah, and in studio. I'm so excited.
Awesome.
And then Godless Engineer will be there too.
I've already met him. I'm looking forward to meeting you, though, Thinker.
I'm looking forward to meeting all of y'all. I'm not looking forward to meeting bats. No, I'm just
Oh no, you won't meet him, but you will be amazed. Here is the look I see on everybody's faces the first time they see it.
Yeah, I hope that's all.
That's it.
No, I'm excited. I've never seen bats up close. So I'm excited to see the bats and to meet all of you in the crew and to do a in-studio show. And I understand it's going to be like 200 people in attendance in studio while we're filming it. And so that's so exciting. So tickets are on sale. Look for the announcements in the coming weeks as to the other host that will be confirmed and also attending. Thank you all so much for being here today, everyone. And we will see y'all next week here on Sundays at 4:30 p.m. Central for the Atheist Experience. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye. Love y'all.
What will it take for you to start opening your eyes, to stop questioning the bullshit everyone around you buys? You think it's any of your business what goes on between my thighs? I wonder when we'll be rid of your eyes.
Watch Talk Heathen live Sundays at 1 p.m. Central and call into the show at 512-991-9242 or connect to the show online at aca.show/call.